This is the traffic light system that we did last week, and this week we're going to build on it. We're going to make a Puffin crossing. In the UK, basically, we have this system where there's a control on, well, we call them the lights, traffic lights. Pedestrian presses the button, then some time passes, and then the traffic system shows red to all cars, so that the pedestrian can pass. And after a few seconds, it goes back to normal, the normal way it runs. And that's what we're going to make today. You're going to need a button and a buzzer, and what you've already got here. So first thing I'm going to do is wire this up here. So we need any GP pin, which here would be GP10. Now I'm going to wire the cathode to anywhere in the ground rail. So remember, anywhere in the ground rail. Now, you may have it wired slightly differently, I don't know. But on here, I wired the ground rail, so everything in the rail goes to ground, and it's connected here. If you have a look over here, you see this S shape here? Anything on that line, anything in this row are connected. And over here, I connect it to pin 18, not GP18, but pin 18, which is ground. Two pins off the end there, it's ground. So my ground rail is done, I've wired that up, that's fairly easy. Now we need a button. So I guess I'll go here. That should be fine. Now I need some wires. Now, the button, what do I want to do with the button? We want to, it's an input, so we need one side to be, the voltage, and we need the other side to go to a pin. Now the next pin, we need to skip one, so let's see what we've got here. I've got these red ones. It's not really, I don't really like bending these, it's just, oh well, that's what we're going to do. Right, so skip one and then there, so that's the GPIO port. Now we need to feed the button with a voltage, and I think I might struggle because, yeah, see this side here? I've put the Pico too far over so that I can't get to the pins, so what I have to do is just move this over slightly. Oops, just take this away, move it up. I don't like doing this because it always seems to go wrong for me. I end up puncturing my fingers. Almost did it then, see? I've bent the pins just a tiny bit. That's okay, we'll bend them back with something. Put that in there. There we go. So what was I doing? I was moving this along. It was, we skipped 2, didn't we? There we go. So that should be alright now. If it'll go back in. Come on. Yeah, pins are lined up. There we go. So where was this going again now? This was going there. Yeah, because we skipped one. So I'll just plug this back in. So we've got the buzzer in. Let me just check that's correct. Yeah. GP9, that's correct. Right, so now we need the voltage pin. Now if I do 3.3 volts out, which is 36, that should work. So we've also got V-bus V6, 3.3 volts out. I'm pretty sure it's pin 36, 3.3 volt out, but I'll check that now. Okay, the book actually recommends using V6, so V6 is the second pin. Now, so we're going to go from here, 1, 2, push that in there. And this is getting a bit of a mess now. We need to get this, yeah, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go over here. So I'm going to put it in there instead, and then this one can go in here, just like that. There we go. We want to make sure those resistors don't touch. Alright, so what have I done here? So I've got the cathode of the buzzer anywhere in the ground line. So remember that the ground line is connected to ground, or it should be anyway. Let me just double check. Yeah, it is. I've got the anode connected to pin GP10. Then I've got the button. You can see the little, of course, the little legs there. So one of them is connected to VSys, which you can see on here. Then if the button's pressed, the circuit gets completed and it goes through to GP9. Yeah, GP9. So that's the wiring up, finished. It's very blurry, isn't it? I want to get this camera replaced at some point. This is actually a webcam because I'm recording it from my my office. Okay, so if we run the Pico now, you'll notice that nothing really happens. You can press this, nothing happens. And that's of course because we haven't coded it. This is the old code here from the previous project, and we're going to modify this. The first thing we'll need to do is import. So we need to import, is it uthread or thread? It's thread. So we need to import thread. When you import thread, excuse me, it's importing a library of code that deals with a certain situation which revolves around threading. Threading is the ability for a processor to process two different processes at one given time. Essentially, that's what it is. So threading allows the program to run two different processes at the same time. Now, after that, we need to do these pins. So I'll just copy and paste that. So you can do highlight, Control C, Control and V, which is copy and paste. So we need button and buzzer, button and buzzer. So button is an input, so we want pin in, and we need to do machine dot pin dot pull down. So if it's not high, which it should be when it's pressed because it's connected to 3.3 volts, then if it's not high, then it's low. Basically, that's what it says. Pull it down. If you're not sure, pull it down. All right, then buzzer, that's fine. Now we need the pins. So button, which pin is button? Well, buzzer is the one closer. So buzzer is 10. So the other one is 9. Buzzer is 10. Put 10 in there. And the other is 9. Okay. So what's next? We need a global variable now. So say global button pressed. Then we're going to say button pressed is false. Button pressed is false. Okay, so what's this? A global variable is a variable that can be accessed globally, basically. It can be accessed by any thread, potentially. Let's carry on. Now we want to define button reader. Button reader. Why has that gone like that? Define. What's happened there? Button reader. Oh, there we go. I'm going to say thread. So this is creating a new function, but it doesn't actually run it in the code. It just defines it or creates it. So you want to say you want access to this variable. So put that in there. Remember indentation as well. So basically, this means that we're going to use this variable in this function. And then while true or 1, I'll do that. While 1, if button.value is 1, then button pressed, what do we want to say, is true. So we've got like a flag here, button pressed. At the moment it's false, but if the button is pressed, then it becomes true. Makes sense. Then we want to sleep. Sleep. We need utime. Utime.sleep 0.01 seconds, which is 10 milliseconds. Sleep for 10 milliseconds. Why would we want to sleep there? So when a thread is being run, it needs to sleep somewhere so that the other thread can do some work, basically. That's my understanding of why they've got this in here anyway. Then we've done the while. What's next? We're going to exit out of that. Then we want to say thread. Where's thread here? This library. Thread dot start new thread, and then we want to give it the name of the thread to run, which is this one, and then open close. So presumably that's for parameters that you'd want to send to the function, but in this case we don't have any parameters. Right, so just what's going on here? So basically we've defined some code to run, but it's not like here where we just run through the whole process. This is a definition of a function, and we actually call it here. So we say it's a thread, start a new thread now, and then that's the name of the thread to run. So at that point there, that's when this gets run. All right, so what do you want to do now? So we want to go to we'll have a look at the old code now. We want to say if a button, so while a button is, this is the second thread. So here's thread 1, this is the second thread. So we want to say if button is pressed, so if button press, which is here, this is the global variable. Oh, in fact, do we need to import, not import, but do we need to button press equals true? No, that's fine. So if it's true, button press is true, then we want to turn the red LED on. So if button press is true, we want to turn the red LED on. Then what do we want to do? Okay, we want to make something happen 10 times. You want the buzzer to buzz 10 times. So if we say for I in range 10, in other words 10 times, buzzer dot value true. It's a bit weird the way that works. You would think that you could do it this way, but no, it doesn't work that way. It's a parameter, so it works like that. Then utime sleep 200 milliseconds. So also that needs to be indented, and that does too. Then we want to turn the buzzer off and then sleep again, so I'll copy this. Turn the buzzer off and sleep again. And then we want global button press. Now, I don't fully understand why that's here and not at the top. I'd have put it at the top. Maybe it doesn't matter, but there you go. And as soon as we've done this, we want to say button press is now false to reset it all. Right then. Now the rest of it should be the same. But let's just recap. So first of all, we start the thread here, and this thread basically detects whether the button is pressed. If it is pressed, it sets it to here. Then in the second thread, or the older thread that we written last time, we're saying if the button is true, then do all of this. If the button is not true, do all of this, which is basically what it was doing before. So if the button is pressed, then we want to turn the red LED on, and then we want to repeat this 10 times here. So we want 10 times, we want the buzzer to buzz, we want it to buzz for 200 milliseconds, and then we want it to stop, and then we want it to sleep again, and then we want to repeat that another 9 times. And then after it's done that, we want the button pressed variable, which is here, which is this flag. We want that to be false again, and then it will carry on here, while the thread keeps detecting whether the button's pressed or not. So that should work. Now usually I slip up and there's a little error somewhere. Yeah, here you go. 29. What's going on here? It's because there's no colon there. There we go. Let's try again. Is it working? Yeah. Well, let's have a look at what this is doing. Just make that a bit bigger. So we've got red and amber, green, and then it should go amber, then red and amber, then green. Let's press this. So it should hold on red. There you go. We can now cross the road. And now it should carry on. Let's press it again. So we've just pushed the button. We want to cross the road. There we go. And that's what I wanted to do today. So today, pretty much, we've introduced a buzzer and well, we've not introduced a button because we've already done that before, but we've also introduced threading, and the coding is getting a little bit more complicated. But still, it's not too hard, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. So, as always, thanks for watching. Just before I go, for those of you who've got the book, we're up to page, let's have a look, 66. Page 66. So the next thing we'll be doing is starting a single player game, which is chapter 6 of the book. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.